All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Monday Blues. My name is Amal, and joining me tonight, and as always, we'll kick it off with you, Mus. How are you going?
Good. E to the L. What's happening?
Not a lot. Georgie, how are you?
G'day, boys.
Carl, welcome back, Carl. You've been missing for a little bit.
I'm back. Good to be back, boys.
Good to have you back. And last but not least, Andy.
How you going, guys?
Otherwise known as Lashes in the Carlton community.
You're gonna make me blush.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Friday night at the G. What is now effectively Carlton's last Friday night game for the year. And depending on how we go over the next 12 rounds or however many rounds are left, that will probably determine if we do get a Friday night game next year as well. Now, Melbourne Demons versus the Carlton Blues. Melbourne wins 8-13-61 to Carlton's 6-8-44. Now, we were all at the G. We all rocked up. And you know what? I'm going to start by saying that I have never seen so many Kathmandu jackets ever in my life. I swear to God, the whole Melbourne supporter base came after a Kathmandu sale.
All 15 of them.
Everyone.
That's the ones that
it's
weren't
either-
at Mount Bull or Europe, of course, and the RM.
Exactly.
Don't forget the RM Williams.
There were Kathmandu jackets and RM Williams everywhere. And I swear to God, it's like the MCG starts serving up red wine as opposed to mid-strength beer as well. Because I saw a lot of people with, Charlene, please come here and take your seat. It was bad, man. It was just, I don't know. It was weird. And then to top it off, Carlton did what Carlton did, and we're going to get into that. But how's everyone feeling, Georgie? I'll start with you, George. How are you feeling after the latest performance that Carlton put together?
I think, and I said it after the game. Like, do you remember? Yeah, hark back to the days or the Teague days of and the running joke was, "Oh, we can't crack the ton. We can't crack 100 points." Oh, wow. 60 is a struggle now, guys. 60 is a struggle now. So we've lost 16 of the last 24 games. It's a pretty scary stat. So I don't know. As the week progressed, I think this time last week for the review of the Sydney game, I said, it might be 3 goals, which incidentally ended up being 3 goals. But on the preview, I said, look, it might be a goal either way. And you start to build that hope as we do as fans, getting close to the game and closer to the game. And even before the game, when I got there a little bit before you guys, it was, Charlie was out there hitting his shots with sauce. Harry had the headphones on, blocking external noise, of course. And Charlie was, he was pinging him for goal, and a kid with his dad was actually on the sidelines just asking for an autograph, badgered Charlie for about 15 minutes. And this is one of the moments that I found to be probably made my night, to be honest, seeing as what the performance, was from the Baggers. But Charlie came around after about 15 minutes and quickly signed the kid's jumper and his flag. And the dad was like almost going to be in tears. He turned to his son. He's like, "Son, that's what we drove 4 hours for." Like, it was like a moment that kid will probably never forget. And even for me watching that, I was like, this poor kid doesn't know what he's in for. But it was a nice moment. I'll say that was probably the greatest takeout from the night, because it was a special moment just watching it. But yeah, rough. It was rough.
Rough is a good word. Rough might be the key word for tonight. Mus, what did you think? You were there for, what was it, about half the game?
Mate, I was triple booked. I had a function for work. I had a friend who was competing in a boxing event, and I still made it to the G. Plan was to leave at 3/4 time, but I thought half time, allow myself some time, maybe get something to eat on the way, because I was a bit optimistic coming through to the game, to be honest. I thought the midfield, some changes. And Georgie, as you said, they're up and about, having some kicks early. The energy was good. Even at the start was pretty good. But, soon enough, we went back to what we know and just the long bombs. And, it speaks for itself. And I think, I don't know, are we getting worse? That's probably my question. But, hey, nothing to write home about, Amal. Wasn't great.
No, it certainly wasn't. It certainly wasn't. Andy, what were your thoughts?
What were my thoughts? It was rough to watch. It was a very, very hard game to watch. Watching the replay was even harder than being there. We're very lucky. Melbourne were horrid by foot. I think the scoreboard didn't really reflect on their dominance. Yeah, it was just a hard watch. Another hard watch. We're not connecting. We're not hitting targets. We're all over the place. We're a mess. I've said this for weeks. We're just a mess, a confused mess, and things don't. There's no light at the end of the tunnel yet. So, what were your thoughts, Simon?
Oh man, yeah. Look, watching at the game was tough. It was tough. It was rough. It was hard to stomach what Carlton did, and hard to stomach the amount of Kathmandu jackets that I saw that night as well. So it was a bad mix for me. But you look at the first quarter, right? And Carl, you would have noticed this on TV, and I'll come back to you in a sec. But the first quarter, being at the game and sitting down on level 1, close to the pocket, it's difficult to see how the game is flowing from that angle. But nonetheless, it was a hard watch. Watching it again on the replay and watching it again on TV, I've got a few things to say. But before I do, Carl, what did you think of the game?
Obviously, I wasn't there. I was in hospital with the little one. It was. I honestly don't say it was. It was a numb. It was just like same thing every week for the last long time since the West Coast game. Nothing's. It's been just bad since.
Yeah.
But disappointed.
It's rough and disappointed. You look at the results, right? You look at the key stats that come out of the game. We got dominated in disposals. We got dominated in kicks, handballs. Inside 50s, we lost by 20. 20, right? Stoppages, we got dominated in. Aside from maybe just center clearances, but everything else we got absolutely annihilated in. And the only thing that speaks to is how poor Melbourne's efficiency is inside 50. Because they kicked 8-13, right? We're not in control of that, in control of their inefficiency in front of goal in any way, shape or form. And they, for a majority of the game, kept us in because of their lack of ability to finish in front of goal, right? Now, that was, in my opinion, after watching the replay, the same story for us. Poor entries into forward 50, whether it be by foot, whether it be through a handball chain, cost us opportunities at goal. And then when the deliveries were actually okay, we either couldn't take the mark, we couldn't finish off the opportunity that we had, we missed set shots, and that, I think, it was a result of our inability to finish in front of goal that saw Carlton go back to that same rubbish game plan. And then we all know what that is. It's dump kicks out to the wing, and then another dump kick into the forward line, get it out, gain as much territory as possible before, and you saw how easily Melbourne were able to bring it back into our forward line. It was literally bang, 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 handball, kick into our forward line for them to only miss it.
I saw a comment from Voss. I didn't actually see the presser, and I'm not sure where this came from, but he said he would like to see us use the handball more and to use run more. So if that's his directive, what are the players doing?
We're doing the complete opposite.
Because exactly, I said this last week. We are not looking when Saad runs past the person who's
No.
stopped 40 meters
Yes.
out from our defensive, from our own goals. But we're not looking for Saad to run past. We're not look. That run isn't there. That dare isn't there.
Yep.
And I think our best passage of play was when Cripps was forced to go through the middle. Maybe because he can't kick at the moment, ever. But yeah, he was forced to go in the middle, and I think we ended up getting a mark inside 50. I'm not sure. I think Jesse ended up having a shot, ended up missing.
It was. I recall the actual passage of play where Cripps took it on, put a dangerous ball inside 50, but nailed it on Kennedy, and Kennedy put it right into
Correct.
Sauce's path. Sauce unfortunately missed, and I think Motlop missed the next one.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
but when we used a bit of speed, took the game on. Interestingly, you say about not using the run and run and carry. Brian Taylor noticed it as well. He said they're not really using Saad. He's like, Saad's made a few runs and he's been ignored. So he made the comment on the telecast as well.
But we see it every week. We see it every week.
Yeah. That was a real visible one with Sam Doherty. That was real.
Yes.
Real
In
bad
the second
one.
quarter. In the second quarter. Saad made a perfect run right around Doherty, and he opted not to give it to Doherty.
Yeah.
Right? Even Doherty was like, Saad was like, what the hell? Like, what more do I need to do? What did Doherty end up doing? I bet you all of you could guess right now what he did.
Long kick.
Yeah, dumb kick out into the wing.
Yeah.
And do you know what happened as a result after that dump kick?
Went the other way.
Came straight back.
Yeah,
standard.
Came straight back.
Of course.
Yeah.
Came straight back.
I don't see, like, all right, if that's what Voss is telling them, and they're doing the complete opposite, have the players checked out?
Yeah.
Yeah, but is that happening, Andy? Is that happening? I mean, it might have, because it didn't come from the presser. The presser was a typical Vossi speech. We're not good enough. We've got to get to work. We're working on things. We've got to get around each other. It was literally word for word the exact same thing. But he did call out that we're not there and we're not good enough, which I think he has said a few weeks. Yeah, I think there was a bit of admission there to sort of say, you know what, maybe we're not going to make. I kind of felt like he said we're a bit far off. We're not going to make finals. We're sort of outside that. It's outside our realm for now.
Yeah.
Captain Obvious, that bloke.
Yeah, well, it's only taken half the season.
I think though when it comes off like that passage that Cripps, although it led to the behind, there was that third one in the third quarter. McGovern, I think it was at the time. Cripps hit up Chera, hit up McGovern, and McGovern just lace out hit Charlie, who goaled. And I remember turning to you, Amal, and you were like, you were in shock.
Yeah, I was speechless.
Because there was the cleanest passage of play we've seen all year. So it just doesn't happen often enough. But when they give it a crack and it comes off, it's amazing. It's just, look, I think it's the chemistry at times, like the chemistry. I don't really, and I'm comparing to other teams and Collingwood and whatnot. But at times you're looking at it and there's probably more chemistry in a bloody Year 7 science class in that team at times, right?
Yeah. When you
the
make
link
the
up play,
I remember that.
But when it does come off, it looks unbelievable.
Yes, and I think, like I said, the first quarter, right? The first quarter, if you go back and watch the replay, you will see that there was a identifiable, I guess, I don't know how to put it, but there was a they clearly wanted to take on the game more with more handballs, handball chains, going through the middle, and trying to actually lower their eyes and hit someone on the run into the forward 50. But when it did work out and when it did pay off, there was two things that let them down, right? It was our inability to take a mark. TDK was one in the first quarter. He missed a sitter. Like, he had it. It was, and it just like, it was as though he was holding a board in his hands, and the ball just went bang straight back out.
I think Motlop dropped one as well.
Motlop dropped one, and there was some pressure on him, but not enough for him to miss the mark that badly. But you convert these opportunities, and all of a sudden Carlton's a different team. Because I bet you, I can almost guarantee it, that as soon as Carlton starts to get some confidence, and we'll speak more about confidence in a second, but if Carlton gets that confidence from the first opportunity or the second opportunity they create, and actually put, convert that into scoreboard runs, right? It's a different story. Look at Harry Mackay, for example, right? Big week for Harry Mackay. Massive. And he came out, he kicked his first goal. It was a ridiculous angle. It was from the boundary line, pretty much. He almost missed it. I don't think I watched the replay like 3 times, and I don't think he kicked the ball properly. He got away with it.
He miskicked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, look at what it did for his confidence.
Yeah.
Huge.
He then, I think he kicked a drop punt.
Yeah,
after
he did.
it.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah. And how good was it to
Big
see the boys get around him?
That was
Oh,
the
it was
biggest
massive.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was massive.
Had a rough week, big week, and kicks the first goal for us. And I just loved how the boys got around him finally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Finally.
Yeah.
It was a good buzz at the ground. It was nice to see. And you know what? He backed it up. He was probably one of our best all night. You know, he's up there. So yeah. It's
Is he out of the woods?
No.
Because I saw a bit more of the ips towards the end of the game. A few sitters dropped, a few easy ones he should have got.
Yeah, he's certainly not out of the woods yet. I mean, I think he made that much very clear with his last set shot of the game. He was 40 meters out. It wasn't a tough angle, and he decided to snap it and didn't even make the distance. So I don't think.
What about Harry? What about Harry and TDK having a laugh after the game?
Oh, I saw that
in the rooms.
Yeah.
Now look, can I? This is like, man, the fans are hurting. The fans are burning. We're watching the club we love fall apart, literally in front of our eyes. And you got a bloke who's demanding big money for not very much output, and that's TDK. He's shown nothing. And you got a bloke that we signed for 7 years on 800 grand, who up until that night couldn't kick. I mean, and we're still on the fence about that. The team just lost in a disgusting way. The fans are pulling their hair out. I've got nothing left. And these blokes are just having a laugh in the rooms. Now, I don't care who was talking to them. I don't care if it was Harry's mum, if it was Harry's dad, or if it was Jesus Christ himself. It's not the time to laugh. Especially, they know the cameras are always on. And for them to show that much disregard, and I hope they cop it in the media this week, and that will be shown in the media. And I hope it gets shown to Voss, and I hope Voss goes old school Voss on them and pulls them up. Because I'm not a big fan of loose body language and happy body language after not just one loss, but the season's done. The season's cooked. At least pretend like you care. At least pretend like you give a crap.
But you know what that says, Andy, to me, and it just screams out that this is just a job. Nothing
100%.
more, nothing less.
100%. And that goes to my point that I said a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks back. I don't love the club like we love the club. They just don't. We love this club our whole life. We ride with this club through wins, losses. We've won more wooden spoons than I think any other team since I've been alive. You know what I mean? And if we haven't won wooden spoons, we haven't been far off. And these blokes come in, they get their $500,000, $750,000. They're just happy to get a kick, you know. Harry kicks 3 goals. He's kicking back at home now. We're the ones that have to do this. We're the ones losing it over this.
So that's the thing that we support them all our life. They could potentially next year be at another club. They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
You just said it. We've probably won more spoons than played in finals in the last 2 decades, honestly. Like when you really think about it.
100%. It's been horrid. And then when I saw that, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I saw a screenshot, and I was like, "Come on!" And then I actually watched the footage. These blokes actually don't care.
But that just highlights the club itself, though, Andy. That's a
Culture.
testament to the club and the culture and not holding people accountable.
Spot on. Spot on. Nobody's holding the other accountable. Oh, man, we lost. Close one. All good. We're going out after, get a few drinks, go hook up with a few girls. Yeah, sweet. That's it. That's what they care about, bro. They don't care about the team. They don't care about the fans. We're just idiots on the internet to them. They don't care about us. But they don't know. They should realise we pay their wages with our memberships. We go every single week, no matter what they put on the week before. We still rock up, we still cheer them on, we yell, we scream, and they don't care. They just don't care, man. And that bothers me.
Yeah. Like you said, we're there every week, and we're going to be there again this week against the scum that is Essendon, right? But it's what we do to get there.
How disgusting is that word?
Yeah, it's
Essendon.
it's it's we leave our family behind, we leave the kids behind. We go to watch these, this group of 22 people, hopefully win, but time and time again, and for the last 6, 7, 8 years, it's been miserable, right? Now, we could sit here and talk about the doom and gloom that is the Carlton Football Club at the moment, but and while it may not look like it, there are some positives to take out of round 12 against Melbourne. Now, one of them, he had a great game last week, and he's backed it up again this week in Jacob Wittering.
Yeah.
Absolutely fire. And like I said, Jacob Wittering is, I'm going to say it, he's a better defender than Darcy Moore. I'll tell you why. Darcy Moore's defense does not have 59 entries come in the way that the defense for Carlton does. Right? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. The fact that our defense is able to withstand that barrage of forward 50 entries is unbelievable. Now, obviously, it's not just Jacob Wittering in the back line. We also have another young gentleman by the name of Brody Kemp, who had a massive game.
He should never be dropped to the VFL for the rest of the year. He should play every remaining game for the rest of the year, judging by his last few weeks.
Yeah,
absolutely. Our defense stood up. I thought McGovern, again, another good performer. He had a solid game. I think his disposal efficiency was something crazy, like 93 or 90. It was in the 90s. It was certainly in the 90s. And it's annoying. It's his contract year. And it's plaguing me every single time that he has a good game. But nonetheless, he is one of the very few players that takes on the game and takes on the corridor. Has everyone else noticed that?
Yeah, he takes a punt. He backs himself, and that
come off.
What?
Doesn't always come off though.
Yeah, but at least he's trying. No one else in our team is trying.
No one else has the balls.
I must say, on offense, I think it usually comes off more often than not. But what he has to stamp out of his game, and I think it happens, I want to say 2, sometimes 3 times a game, is some uncontested marks, some contested, but they just slip through the fingers. You saw the one in the first quarter, jumped on his own, slipped through. They got a goal. Another one where he went for the intercept, slipped through. And it didn't even slip through. It was like the TDK one. It kind of just bounced off his hands. It happens every game. So if he works that out, and there's other flaws in other players, I'm not just picking on him, but like if he works that out, he becomes a bit more of a complete player. That's what's letting him down personally. That's my thoughts.
But how's it like? How long has it been in the AFL? Like you're a professional football player. That should be the easiest part of the game.
Yeah, fundamental core skills.
They're relatively easy marks that he misses as well.
Yeah.
And then there's the other problem. Whilst we're on Mitch McGovern, he jumps up like 15 seconds too early when he tries to go up for a specky.
The TDK.
TDK is another one that does it, but Mitch McGovern is noticeably bad.
Yeah, he's trying to take Mark of the Year every week.
Yeah,
I like
Like, he's-
TDK game. I reckon that was probably one of his best games of the year, to be honest.
I've loved TDK
Considering
since
considering he had to deal with Grundy
He
and
did well.
Vaughan, and Sauce went off in the second quarter or half time, he held his own. Like I
Well.
think he held his own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he did well. He did well. Now, there's I think Chincotta played quite well, but again, for all of our defense, I think they had a really, really solid game. It was good to see Harry get some runs on the board once again. Our midfield, Chera was good. I thought Chera was quite good. Akers had a better game. Not the greatest, but better. I can see you smiling, Mus.
He kicked the goal. I couldn't believe it. I
He
watched
kicked
it
the
like
goal?
10 times over.
Goal too.
He kicked the goal on the run. I think that was quite pleasing to see. We all thought he was going to miss it. It's funny though, he actually did miss one earlier. It was a set shot, and we said that he was going to kick it towards us, and to no surprise, he did. But nonetheless, I thought Akers had a much better game. One person that should never ever show his face again to the Carlton Football Club or anywhere in Victoria, Lockie O'Brien, get off my team. Get off my team. The bloke had 9 disposals and turned 4 of them over.
Pretty good. Almost 50%.
Pretty good for Lockie.
He-
Oh no, go on.
He kicked his standard out of bounds on the full.
Yep.
And his standard 45-50% in turnovers as well. Get off my team.
Yeah.
Why he got picked over Paddy Dow, who came in. He had, I think it was about 40% game time and got 9 disposals.
Yeah.
Right? It's
He played
Dow
35
over Lockie.
minutes. Dow played 35 minutes, bro, and
Yeah.
got 9 touches. And the thing I liked was about Dow. Sorry to cut you off, bro, but I've seen a lot of people kind of hammer him online, saying, "Oh, this is the guy you wanted in. This is the guy you wanted in. This is why he doesn't get a game." I'm looking at these people like, not everybody should be allowed to speak sometimes. I truly believe that you need a license to use social media. Because some of the things you see in Carlton groups, man, and like this bloke played 35 minutes, got 9 touches, hasn't played for a year. You know what I mean? What do they want from him? Do they want 50 possessions, 6 goals? Like, I reckon a lot of those people. Go, Mark.
No, it's all right. Go.
I was going to say, a lot of those people just look at the stats. They don't actually watch the game and see what he does. It's just, look, he only got 9 touches. They actually don't see what he physically done.
Yeah.
I don't think it wasn't just like, if you look at it from 9 touches, it was actually the disposals that he got, right? He was the exit handball. There was one inside 50 kick where he got a mark inside 50. I think Harry marked it.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually effective, and he was getting in and under, and he was getting that third ball out. So it was what he was doing was actually effective. I know, like, he's not a like for Lockie, of course, Lockie being a winger, but to your point, Amal, on Lockie, he's a known commodity to the club now, right? You know what you're going to get from him. I don't think anything will change in the next 40 or 50 games. You know what you're going to get with him. He had 19 or 20 games last year. In all honesty, maybe it's time to make a bit of a brave call now and say, well, if we know that he's not, part of our next, finals or premiership window or
Get rid of
whatnot,
him.
play Jackson Binns. Jackson Binns is playing a great role in the ring. Why? He's doing really well.
fantastic.
He's being
34
consistent
touches.
in the VFL. Just bring him in for a run of games, right? You've got, if you're going to persist with Cottrell, you're going to persist with obviously Blake Acres in the other wing. Nothing's hurting you than just giving him a crack.
Yeah. It's obvious that one side of our center line is a weak point at the moment, right? The other side is all well and good. We can rotate Walsh and Chera and Akers, but we don't have the rotate on the other side. Whether it's Hollins or who's a first year player, he's still got a lot of development to go, right? But if we're going to be playing around with the DNA, bring in Binns. Let's see how he goes. I mean, what more do we realistically have to lose, right? We're 2 games away from the bye. I don't think we're going to beat Essendon, and I don't think we're going to beat the Suns at this stage unless something drastically changes, because they're both playing really good footy at the moment. The Suns turned up. Essendon turned up. When was the last time we turned up? Irrespective of West Coast. Let's forget that game.
Last year.
But again, the handball chains and the link up out of stoppages and contests have reappeared. Not for long enough, but they have reappeared, which is a positive, right? It is a big positive. And there's still some work there that needs to be done with our forward 50 deliveries and also conversion. Just making sure that we're able to finish off the hard work that the boys are putting in from the defense to the midfield and into the forward line. So there was an improvement, and a lot of people will probably disagree with me saying that. There was a lot of improvement that I saw, but there's still a lot more improvement that needs to be done if we're going to try and revive what little is left of this season. It's possible. It can be done. It can be done. But we need the flick to switch now.
I
Not
think a
after
big one-
Essendon.
Yeah,
I
this is
think a
Michael
big-
Pike this week.
We'll talk about I think the next week's game soon, and because I don't want to bear having that discussion this time next week about after a loss. But I think one thing to add to the stats, Amal, that you mentioned as well, for things to work on, and one thing we probably, if we flick this switch, I think we'll become a much better team. Tackling and tackle efficiency, and this killed me during the game. I know we're talking about positives, but I'm reframing this into potentially a positive. The stat was 54 to 43 tackles Melbourne's way, but worryingly, even though Melbourne had a lot more possession, a lot more time on the ball, a lot more possession, they actually, so they out-tackled us in efficiency, 72 to 54%. The amount of times we just stick an arm out, or the amount of times we, take the player for a bit of a merry-go-round, spinning around, Kylie Minogue.
Yep.
Do a 360, but they have time to have a look. Oh, which one of my teammates is here, so I can handball to them. The amount of times we do that is like, and you see when actually we try and drive him to the ground, where Mackay had that, holding the ball call for him. Slad's like a decent tackle or two. Like when they actually stick those tackles, drive the players to the ground or hold the ball in, that's where we get that contested ball or potentially comes out and it comes our way.
Yeah, but you know what that does too, George? That also brings up the tempo of the game flow as well. Once the guys start sticking tackles, the guys start getting around the ball a bit more and start wanting to win that hard ball. So it just changes things dramatically. So it's a good pickup.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, we're again, it's a confidence thing, right? You stick a few tackles, you kick the first few goals, you reap the rewards of the hard work that you do and put in, and all of a sudden confidence is sky high, and then we start playing with a bit more dare. But if you don't, you miss the first couple, you miss a tackle, someone makes you look like a fool, confidence drops, and then there goes Carlton. It feels like. Anyway. Now, we've got a special guest on this week. Andy, I'll let you do the introduction of who our guest is, and then we'll bring him in.
Yeah, so big Carlton man. His name's Morris. He bleeds blue, like all of us. Champion bloke, very knowledgeable on the history of Carlton as well. Runs one of the biggest Carlton fan pages on Facebook as well, the Carlton Football Club Unofficial Selection Committee. So it's an honour and a privilege to have him join us on our podcast.
Excellent. Alrighty. Morris, welcome to the Monday Blues. How you doing?
Not too bad, boys. Considering, great to be on. Been following the podcast from day one. Exciting, refreshing. Basically, you guys speak it as it is. Yeah, there's no sugarcoating around things, so it's refreshing. Just a space to, be a part of what everyone else is feeling at the moment. Basically, probably one of the reasons I created my page a number of years ago, just to give everyone that open forum of speaking the truth in regards to whether it be positive or negative around the club. And at the moment, it's, we're in dark times. I was 19 years old when we last lifted that cup, and it's been, nearly 3 decades. And,
Wow.
we get sold that same story. And I reckon we're in a time where the list hasn't been better, and we need to ask questions.
What
Yeah.
questions? What questions? And to who?
Mate, like Andy, me and you've been talking, the last number of weeks.
Can I just, sorry, Morris, can I just interrupt you real quick? Morris comes into my shop 2 or 3 times a week. He comes in, he absolutely ruins my day talking about Carlton and then leaves. So I'm in a bad mood for the rest of the day.
What?
And he walks out with a smile.
It's what you call grenade throwing, Andy. Yeah, so basically, if we're going to talk on field, one of the questions, and not too many people speak about it, whether I know nothing about football or I'm blinded, but we've got 3 small forwards that make up a sixth of our team, and we get absolutely no impact out of them. Like,
Yeah.
boys, I remember the days, if we talk Carlton, we had the 3 amigos in Garlett, Yaron, Eddie Betts running amok around Fev. You look at other sides, Charlie Cameron, Michael Walters, Tom Papley, and the competition's so competitive today that you can't have footballers that give you 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If
Absolutely. And what burns me even more is that we were so close to getting Tom Papley as well. And then he kicks what was almost the sealer against us a couple of weeks back.
Correct.
Correct.
And, we're at a time now where, call me whatever, or, but you get a lot of information told to you, I know a lot of people around the traps and that have got some involvement, and the drums are starting to beat around our board, and it's a major issue. Like, a very good mate of mine, he was the one that interjected where the board couldn't put through their constitution in being able to run longer. So, you got an independent panel where, I remember, I'm 47 years old. I remember the days where the board run their tenure. You voted. You voted for someone to be on the board. They've now set up an independent review panel, and all it does is put one of their mates on there.
Yeah, the same cycle over and over.
Correct.
Repeat.
Correct. And, we talk about Voss. Apparently tonight I've been flooded with messages. Apparently there's rumours that, I don't believe too much into it, but apparently he's got a few personal issues, and they're trying to traject that possibly that was the reason why he left training early a few weeks ago. But they reckon there's going to be a media conference tomorrow. Now, do you sack the coach? Absolutely not. These players, they're responsible for the sacking of Teague, Bolton. When are they going to be asked the questions? Do they have too much power? Does the board interfere themselves with the footy department? Like, we've got the best bloke in the business running our club in Brian Cook. What he did at West Coast and at Geelong, his hands tied. He came out and everyone bashed him, saying that we might not make finals. I read a little bit more into it. I read him trying to bring us to a level where he understands the list isn't that great, and he's trying to soothe us for the end of the year. Like our draft picks, boys. they said that, we're salary cap heavy. We're 14th on the ladder, and we've got no money to spend, and we have to go to the draft. We've got one pick in our top 60.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
What kids are you going to do? I watched, I go every week. I used to go interstate as well too. You look at hard questions being made. I love Ripper to death. I would die for him. He looked like concrete on Friday night. And the reality is, he's 29 years old next year. Is he going to be another Kate Simpson? That, I'd love Simo to death. Hard questions needed to be asked. Do you put Ripper on the table?
Oh,
Like,
that'd be a big call.
It'll be a big call, but you know what? The other big clubs, they've made them big calls, and they've had to.
Collingwood.
Yeah, people were
Collingwood-
laughing at Collingwood.
is like the-
People were literally like abusing Collingwood for the way they treated Treloar and a couple of the other guys. Look,
Grundy,
Business,
Stevenson.
you got to do what you got to do.
Even
Yeah.
like Grundy, they let Grundy go. What? He should have been the first one we looked at.
yeah.
When's the last time you saw an All-Australian ruckman running around in the Carlton jumper?
I can't remember the last time we had a successful ruckman, just in general. Not even all Australian.
Matthew Allen. Matthew Allen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Matthew Allen.
Matthew Allen, and I remember we had such a
Mark Porter.
Mark Porter, exactly. I cried.
Yeah.
I cried when Porter left to go to North. I still love him.
He was good.
Yeah, it's solid.
I mean, like, what did you guys take out of Friday night's game?
Oh, well, I think that look, it was nowhere near to the level of what our list is capable of. I certainly don't think it was anywhere close to it. But there was improvements over the last few weeks of crap that we have dished out. Certainly, I feel like we were less reliant on the dump kick, even though it was still there. That dump kick was still there. There was more chains being created out of handballs from stoppages, which was really, really good to see. It gave us deeper entries into our forward 50, but we just couldn't capitalize. We couldn't either our delivery into forward 50 was terrible, was absolutely crap, or when it did come in the right way, in the right shape, we couldn't mark, and when we did, we couldn't finish.
Yeah.
So was there improvement? Yes. Our defense held ridiculously strong. It's a solid defense. I don't think there's any changes that you need to make to our defense at the moment. It's just the way that the mids get it into our forward line at the moment for me.
Yeah. And
That's been the story of the year.
What was that?
and another
That's been the story of the year.
Yeah. Another thing I'll raise, guys, like if you watch, and I hate talking about them, but if you want to model this year's season on a team, you need to look at the Pies, okay? And you look at last year, they had me fooled. I didn't think they were that good. I just thought, you know what, they're lucky. They won all these games by less than a kick. And you look at this year, right? You look at us, the Sydney game. With 15 minutes to go, we packed it in. You look at the Melbourne game, even on the weekend, there's 10 minutes to go. We're 14 or so points down. There's no desperation. Did the Collingwood game last year, does it not burn in their bellies?
That's the thing. That's like, to both your points. We always play like we're 3 goals up. I feel like we always play like we're 3 goals up with 2 minutes left on the clock. That's what it always feels like when we've got the ball in our defensive half. There's no urgency. There's no, all right, we're down by 14 points, 10 minutes to go. Move the ball quick. Let's try to get a quick one. Let's try something. Nothing. It's, all right. Who can I kick short to? Or who should I dump it down to? Like, there's no And to your other point, Morris, I think we've got PTSD from the Collingwood game. I don't think it's good memories, and I don't think it's good good emotion. I don't think it's fiery emotion. I genuinely think they have frightened us. I think they have scarred the football team at that last game because we threw everything at it.
Possibly, but and you always hear the talk. Like our first 10 weeks last year, no one would beat us. And even touching on that, Andrew, a month ago, you said something to me, and it still resonates in my head that the best 10 weeks of your life was that.
Yeah,
I've
all of us.
I've seen premierships. I was old enough to see premierships. And I thought to myself, geez, this mighty club has been.
It's not a mighty club anymore, bro.
No. And you listen to the outside world, and maybe they're right. Maybe we were only a great club because we utilised that brown paper bag. And as soon as they got rid of that brown paper bag, you know what? And the one thing that I say to you all the time, Andy, we played in the Cruiser Cup against Melbourne.
Yeah,
They've gone on to win a premiership. We played in the Wiedering Cup against Brisbane. They were a basket case.
They're
They got
contending.
they got Greg Swan at the club as CEO, and I can tell you that I had it from board members' mouths, admin mouths at our club say he was no good. Boys, look what he's done to Brisbane. And
Maybe we're just no
No
good.
good for what? Maybe there's something definitely wrong culture within the club. They're resistant to change. They're resistant to wanting to win.
yeah,
I've got nothing else to put it down to.
yeah. Stephen Trigg was apparently no good either.
Yeah. And we've got this loser mentality. There's a loser energy in the football club. And it seeps from the top all the way down to the guy who cleans the boots.
Correct.
Everybody.
Correct. And it's a known fact. Like, mate, one of the best footballers I've ever seen in my life, Greg Williams. Boys, he had an interview when he joined the board that as football director that he's going to be involved more. He's gone
Where is he?
missing. And
Yeah.
and the thing that burns me, we're all here at what, 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. We're all got to get up tomorrow, go to work. Yeah. He's a paid director. It's unheard of. Chris Judd was a paid director. You know what that tells me? They'll only do something
Money.
for money.
We're a money club. That's all we are. I've always said it.
Yep.
Like,
Money club.
oh,
We're an ATM.
Andy, I nearly fell off my chair a few weeks ago when you told me, buy a guest pass and you get a membership. And I'm like, nah, bro, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. Look.
I'm
Most of them got a whole cupboard worth.
me and my cousin.
I've got this. I'm taking my sisters to the Essendon game. So there's three of us. Yeah, three of them.
Me and my cousin have been saying for years, at the moment we're banging on that we've got 90,000 members. But you know what? The reality is it's not only the Carlton Football Club that play these tactics, yeah? It makes the AFL look good. You wanna put out membership numbers? Put out paid members. My membership cost me $1,200 every year. And I pay for my nephew. I pay $600 for a 12-year-old. Don't give me a figure of someone that bought a guest pass and got one for free, or free gamer, or You know, like
That's what the
Pet
club.
memberships.
That's what the
Don't
club
forget
does.
the pet. Don't forget the pets. The pets. That's
yeah,
inflating as well. So
yeah,
Pets.
Everything's make believe. Everything's false.
that's correct. You know, and you know, you mentioned Amal, my page. You know, before. You know, I read some comments, yeah, and you know what? I respect everyone's opinion, but I'm baffled by how many supporters accept our mediocrity. And you know, trust the club, trust the, trust our you know process.
Process.
And I find and I find every time this club brings out a 5-year plan, that's the trigger point for our decline.
That's what I was going to say, Morris. I was going to say, mate, how many new slogans or how many rebuilds have you? How many do you anticipate before you actually see any success within this club?
Oh, I was talking with one of the guys at the footy, and the one thing I'm big on at the moment, there's 3 untouchables at our club at the moment, players, and that's Wiedering, Charlie, and Harry, and that's because that's an all Australian spine. Premierships are won on your spine. You look at when we were a great team, it wasn't our mids that won us premierships. You know, you had Stephen Silvani down back with Peter Dean, Andy McKay, Kernahan up front, and it got to an era where Parkin saw that, you know what, this club needs a bit of tweaking up forward. So what did they do? He goes out and they went hammer and tong and brought in Earl Spalding. Earl Spalding was massive for the Carlton Football
Really?
Club at that time.
Really?
And what did they have as well too? An All-Australian ruckman, Justin Harry Madden.
Mm.
So,
You're very lucky to have witnessed those guys, man, and actually remember it.
look, I remember the '87 grand final vividly.
Far out.
So,
I remember
Old,
bits
my
of the
old man Seth.
95.
it's just, look, it's frustrating. But the one good thing is, you know, you're able to come out and, you know, express your angst, you know, with other, you know, supporters that are feeling the same thing. Yeah, it's, I don't know. Where do we go from here?
We're all broken.
Well, I think that's the
The
next
$1
question.
million
I think that's
question, bro.
We're all broken.
it's the,
I reckon I know the answer. I was having a look at it today and I posted it on my page. I honestly reckon that the whole board needs to be dismantled. And I reckon that, and one of the guys on my page actually made a comment, right? And he looked at it and he said, you know, to be on a board, you need to be a member, okay? And you don't get paid. Why doesn't the AFL change the rules, treat it like a business, and you go and get the best business people out there, you pay them, your job is, you're in charge of this football club, and that whole board sits. So, and I believe Brian Cook's handcuffed. I believe he's dictated on what he needs and can do. I don't believe our football department's operated by someone good. Lloyd, he should have been given the flick.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe the players have too much power. And by the board, in listening to the coaches, and put someone senior around Voss. You know, people talk that Voss is no good. I reckon Voss would be great. You know, and people say like the honeymoon blues. You know, like our second year. Like, you look at when, was it Bolton? Bolton's second year, the club appointed Neil Craig from Adelaide. We were great. Neil Craig stayed with us for a year. He didn't do his second year, and we fell to pieces. And putting
Isn't John Worsfold in our like something?
no,
No, I think
Was
they
he
played
there
for
under the
good.
T?
He left as well.
I think he had one phone call with Teague, one week with Teague, and then it was unheard of. We never saw him again.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
fair enough.
Robert Walls was there part time, in and
That's the
out.
thing.
And
It's a whole bunch of part timers. Let's get
Yeah,
people.
shows what's going on.
Let's get people who know football, not from Carlton, not from a Carlton background, from a successful background. Get them in. You're here full time, mate. Here's your paycheck. Help fix us.
yeah,
That's what needs to happen. But
I
the
would love
AFL's lowered the soft cap, haven't they? So I
Yeah.
think clubs have less money to do that, and clubs like us are really going to struggle. Especially like if we don't win a flag before Tasmania gets in, we're going to have to rebuild. Nobody wants to rebuild within 2 years of Tassie coming in because Tassie's getting all the elite picks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's something we need to like. We're in a really volatile position right now.
but we can't rebuild, Andy.
I know. This is what I'm saying. I know.
It's not
Yeah,
that.
what are we going to rebuild with?
But the list doesn't dictate you to rebuild. The list is too good to rebuild.
But this is what I mean. If we don't win, if we don't find success with this list by 2026, 2027 at the latest, that's another 4 years. If we don't find success in that 4 years, we're done. And we're going to have to rebuild at a time that Tassie's coming in. And Tassie's getting the first, second, third, they're probably getting the best 20 young kids every year for the first, before 2 years before they enter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
who wants to rebuild when that's happening? That's what cost us last time when GWS
And
came
the
in.
Gold Coast.
That was when Radden took over.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man.
And the one thing that also baffles me, if we're going to talk about player, the on-field performances and that, when Voss came in, and this isn't having a stab at him, right? But he promised us player integrity, and he told us that every player will need to earn their spot to get a game. Now, I can tell you on good mail, all right. I'm one. I reveal sources. Paddy Dell has never been spoken to on what he needs to do to make that side. Okay, we've got. This is my biggest pet hate. Our small forward, yeah, because if we were to get that section right, we're a 5-goal better side. Our mids will even start kicking goals. We've got a bloke in the twos as well too that came from a brilliant culture down the Cattery at Cardinia Park in Fogarty. He's been smashing it in the VFL. Playing as a mid. I think on the weekend he had something like 26 touches, 7 tackles, boys. Our seniors don't have 7 tackles for the whole 18 of them.
That's why we won't bring him in.
Yeah, there's you look at our small forwards, right? Motlop, Owies, Durden. I think Fogarty can quite comfortably come in for any 3 of them and put on 3 times the amount of pressure in our forward line that is so desperately needed at the moment. Our small forwards are nowhere near the contest that Voss wants Mackay and Kurnow to create in the forward line.
Correct.
They're never there.
Yeah.
Motlop's off in La La Land on the wing, right? Durden, I don't know where Durden is. I barely even notice him on the field. Always is the only one from time to time who will pop up, take a good mark, and kick a goal.
But
He's
it's
probably
like
our best
something.
kick in the team.
It's like something changes, Amal, though, when they come in. When Always came back from injury, 3 or 4 weeks ago, he was looking really good for a few quarters, and then I don't know, he just faded back into that Carlton forward spectacle. What they show, they just go missing.
But even if you think about it, you look at Owies, yeah, he's been not too bad, right? But as a small forward, he's a lead up mark. That's where he's kicking his goals.
Yeah.
He's doing what Harry and Charlie should be doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I was telling Andy against, I think it was the Pies game, because you guys see a few bays away from me. There was I think it was the third quarter against the Pies where Harry and Charlie went up for a mark, and Motlop tried to take mark of the year. Instead of staying back, he would have thumped it.
remember that.
Goal.
Yeah, but would he though? That's the thing. Even if he gets himself in the right position, I don't know if he's the right guy either.
Yeah, but
I think there's a serious lack of leadership in that forward line, right? So if you look at like your Gunston, Bruce figures, other forward, even like your Maya Check, your role players that have leadership capabilities. Like if I look at our forward line, right, Charlie and Harry, amazing, talented players, not leaders, right? Jack Silvani, at times he can be a bit vocal. To be honest, before the game against the D's when he was practicing, he looked like he wanted to be anywhere but there. Didn't really look into it. Wasn't as vocal, on the day. Always Durden Motlop, not like always. I reckon out of all six, always probably has,
probably.
and really by a very small margin, probably the only leadership qualities in the way that he sort of G's up to guys, his running patterns. What I do love about him, I reckon he's the best out of the three. There was that instance, I think it was in this first or the second quarter, he put that block on the forward to allow TDK to take a mark uncontested in the square. It bounced off his hands. Always has a good running patterns, good pressure. Even though he impacts the scoreboard, that probably the best out of all of them. But there's no on-field leadership, and it's not just the forward line. I think primarily it's the forward line, but it's across every line. So besides Cripps and Doherty, realistically, when you talk about on-field leadership, across every line, where is it?
No.
And that's where it's missing. Like even Cripper. Cripper's follow me, I'll take you there with the footy. But a lot of them don't have the capability of being able to play football.
Just in general.
No, but like if you understand what I mean, like yeah, there's a lot. We don't have too many match winners. Like you don't need to. Like Charlie's a match winner, Harry's a match winner, Cripper can be a match winner. Weeders, will take that life-saving mark down back. Lewis Young is coming into that. And
I would love to see. Sorry, Morris. I would love to see us get one defender, another big defender in there, just to allow. Because I feel like Wiedering would be elite at that intercept Darcy Moore position. I think he would be elite at that intercept marker, but he's had to spend too much time on a key forward, so he can't create that space. He can't afford to create that space. I reckon we get, like, if we had one more defender, that would free up Jacob to run amok. And
That's
I'll give you a name.
That's what McGovern was supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. We've got McGovern being the intercept guy. When he's just not that guy. It's just not him. He's too busy trying to take mark of the year, and then falling over and hurting himself. And then he's out.
That's what I said earlier. Like leave Kemp in for the rest of the year. He took like 4 or 5 intercept marks.
Yeah,
he was great. Like, leave him in.
He was brilliant. Even Chincotta,
I love Chincotta.
Are they going to make mistakes? Absolutely. You know who my love child is at the moment? Reminds me of a young Camporelli, Holland.
Yeah, he's great.
Love his endeavour. And I remember they were showing highlights. I think it was the Brisbane game where we got smashed holding the ball, and they had all these plays on, Silvani got caught in the back line, and a wayward handball, and we copped gold. All these senior players, they got caught, and their eyes didn't know where they were on the field, and they were just done. Holland took it in the back pocket, raised his eyes, saw there was no one to kick to, tried to take the game on, got caught. The thing that I took from that was this kid's got a bit of brain. It wasn't that long bomb. He tried to take 2-3 steps to get people to come. He got caught. You know what? And these are the guys that we've got to persist with. Like, where's Owen at the moment?
Yeah, he was supposed to find. I don't know. He was in good form. I think we just rested him, and
Yeah, he's been playing VFL.
Yeah, he played twos. He's played
Yeah.
all right as well.
He's been playing twos for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Martin got up. Cunningham got up. They had 20 odd touches
Yeah.
each in seconds.
Marchbank as well.
Yeah.
Jack Martin. Off the calf.
And that's the thing, and that's the thing. Like, we touch back what we were saying before. 14th place, and we've got 10 players on the bulk of our cap, and then the rest of the players get paid less. What your bottom end players get paid at the other clubs, and the way I look at a lot of players now, my train of thoughts kind of changed in regards to, like, if we look at McGovern, right? He's on 750 plus whatever this year. Next year, it's the end of his contract this year, right? Is he our premiership centre half back?
No.
My answer is no. So
Definitely not.
So my thing is, move him on.
Get Ben McCain.
Kemp will do a better job than him.
Yeah, 100%.
We've saved.
He showed that against Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But then
He
it
was
throws question marks. It throws question marks for your Lewis Youngs. Oh, he was in no man's land for me since Weeders has been back.
Yeah, is it something that, like, you look at Lewis Young, last year when he had to take the reins when Weeders went down, everyone thought, oh, mate, what a great pick up this was. Is it them two aren't gelling? Is there something that doesn't sit well
100%.
with the both of them, or?
And it's almost like two of the same player, two of the same players that are clashing.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah. Well, Morris, what do you think? We're 12 rounds in now. We have a 4-6-1 or a 4-7-1 record. Where do you think the rest of the season will see us finish?
It's funny you asked me that. I had a look at the picture.
Here we go.
At the picture today. I see us winning 3 games
On current form.
on current form, and we're blessed. We play West Coast again.
And who else are we beating?
Hawthorn.
No, you got to flip a coin on that. You got to. Well, Hawthorn are building a midfield.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Gold Coast, they're electric.
No, they'll beat us, Gold Coast.
But we play Gold Coast twice. Once here. That might be.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, like, a lot of people are starting to become, Einsteins, where they're coming out now, where we sit on the ladder, and did you all think we were going to finish in the top 4 or whatever? I knew we weren't going to make finals. It's all good to say it now, right? Did I believe that we could finish top 4? I thought, if luck went our way and we played like we did the first 10 rounds last year, it was probably one of the first times the club got what they wanted. They got a Northern Australian winger that was sensational last year. His disposal efficiency was bang on. He had a good month, the start of the season with us. And now, I reckon I kick better with both my knees tied than him.
It's
It's,
funny.
and I was actually saying it a few weeks ago, because apparently he came to Carlton on less money from what he was at Freo. And I said to a mate of mine at the game, and I said, take away the money. Would he make that decision again? Or would he stay at Freo? Because he looks unhappy.
Mm.
You know?
He looks
Would he,
slow too.
would he get a game at Freo based on current form?
I don't, but he might not be in that mentality, man. You know?
Yeah.
And the other thing that someone pointed out to me a few weeks ago, right, was our deficiency is terrible, correct?
Yeah.
You know what it's masked by?
Handballs.
Our handballs.
Yeah, we've discussed that on here before.
Yeah.
Oh, have you?
Just just how it's we've inflated our sense of good disposal efficiency, and it's based purely on we're just so handball happy. Yeah,
Well, that and
Carlton
the
Football
sideways
Club.
kicks as well.
That's what we do. Now it's all
Yeah.
coming undone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. Like when we play on whatever arena it is the corridor a war zone where you can't enter.
It's a no man's
Yeah.
land. Yeah.
The floor is lava.
I was going to say that, and the floor is lava.
I watched the footy show this morning, and they did an analysis on Carlton. They showed the bad and they showed the good. There was two goods they showed, and we scored
What
from
was
those.
that?
They showed two goods, and
It was the start of the game and the end of the game.
and both those goods we used the corridor, and we scored.
Yeah.
And they
There you go.
were scratching their heads saying why we don't take the game on, why we don't use Adam Sard. They spotted a few times that Adam Sard ran and should have been used to carry,
Yeah.
and you got the next one. They don't do that. We're like witches' hats.
Yeah, it's
This is what Morris does to me every 2-3 days at the shop. We have this chat all the time.
You got to start working on Sundays, Andy.
No, man. No. That's my day to sit in silence and think about what I've just witnessed.
Well, you'll probably do
Yeah.
that next Sunday night too, mate.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, it's a big game. It's a big game next week, and obviously having this chat with you, Morris, it just solidifies that there's more questions than answers at the moment with the Carlton Football Club. You know, and it's not just with the players and the game plan, but it's also our coaching staff. It's our backroom staff. It's our board. It's our administration. It's every facet of this club at the moment has a massive question mark lingering over it, and only time will tell what's going to happen. You know, is there going to be a press conference at 12 p.m. tomorrow with some sort of update on Voss? You know, is there going to be a change in our coaching staff? Who are we going to move on at the end of the month, at the end of the year, at the end of the season to make Carlton Football Club a better team come season 2024? It's more questions than answers than anything, and it's a rough place to be in because it it ruins your weekend, and I'm very, very glad that we don't have any more Friday night games and we don't have to witness this and then have to deal with this for the remainder of the weekend.
We'll go one more Friday night.
I'm not going.
But the flip side to that, Amal, is if you play on a Friday night, they ruin your weekend ahead. If you play on a Sunday, they ruin your weekend that you've just had. And you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, but what are your thoughts on Voss, boys? He's got to stay.
I was going to say, firstly about ruining weekends, I think Morris I done a stat the other day, and they've ruined about 67% of my life. I think that 2/3 of my life, they haven't been in finals for 2/3 of my life. So that's. But look, my thoughts on Voss. Surely, we are not talking about a fifth head coach since 2015,
Oh,
right? Like, 1.5 years into a 3-year deal, we're talking, Malthouse, I'm not counting Johnny Barker, Bolton, Teague, Voss now, and like we said before, maybe get a bit of experience around him. I don't know if you're Voss or if it's Sayers or Cook or whoever might be resisting to it. And again, I'm not privy to the soft cap details and whatnot, but call someone and just say I need help. Paul Roos. Dimmer probably doesn't want to go back into the game right now since leaving so soon. But like I look at a figure like a Paul Roos or someone with a bit of knowledge behind the game, successful, as Andy said as well. Just I need help. Like I need a little bit of help around me. And again, the coaches around him. Ash Hansen has big raps on him as well as a forward coach. Aaron Hamill, who was a forward, is our backline coach. Again, a little bit of senior help around him. I think he's got Greg Williams in this old school, old fashioned role, but an actual coaching staff member that has a bit of help around him. I think if we make that call to move him on, and we're just trigger happy like that,
We're back to square one.
We're back to square one. It's a sad day. Like
There's nothing.
again, we start again, and rip up the game plan. Players aren't going to be accountable. They're just there. They're getting their paychecks as well. They've ruined someone else's well-being and life as well. So I don't know. I think we have to persist, but I think he needs help.
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
and he might not be the bloke to help him, right? But how many times has Cooter put his hand up to voluntarily go into the club and give him a hand?
Yeah.
get him on the
Favola, another one.
Herbalife.
And it's always a no.
Because he's always pushing pyramid schemes.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's just lucky I work from home sometimes. Yeah, you don't have to go into the office anymore, and your team done this, and you're
It's funny you say that. So I play. I'm a massive golfer, and we're going into winter now. I have one beanie. I'm bald. I have one beanie. It's a Carlton beanie. I haven't been able to wear that beanie all of winter so far. My head's frozen. I don't want to wear it because I know I'll get questioned. I like to wear this polo when I play golf sometimes. I haven't been able to wear this either. It sucks.
It's just naked.
Yeah, it's. I have to. I have to wear a hat.
The only king swinger.
It's tough at the moment.
it's gonna be fun times. Yeah, and even I honestly reckon for us to get out of this, hard executive decisions need to be made. You listen to Matthew Lloyd start of the year, turned around and said, if we're speaking TDK, he wants 800-900 a year. What did Matthew Lloyd say? He's played what, 30, 40 games? He's not worth 300, 350. Move him on. You'll get 2 first-round picks, boys, for him. Yeah? He's not a normal Australian ruckman. We've got to move away from being the Carlton potential football list.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
No, there's no room for potentials anymore. If you want big money, you know what?
Prove it.
You got to be that bloke on the ground that stands up, that Jonathan Brown. Come and follow me. Luke Hodge. Get him involved in the club. It's think outside the box. Gone are the days of the Carlton greats. Nah, didn't work. Hasn't worked for 28 years. Get some outsiders. Get some people from Tigerland, from Geelong, from Hawthorn. Winning culture. We got one bloke on our list that had finals success, and that's Zach Williams.
That's doing
Can't
harm.
even get him on the park.
On our list, that's about it.
But you know what? Unfortunate for him, but we do miss him.
Yeah.
I'd like to respectfully disagree.
In.
You know, I don't know. What do we do?
That's the multi-million-dollar question, mate. What do we do?
What do we do? You know, and
Yeah.
I honestly think that the hierarchy don't like being told at Carlton. Like, if we're going to step back in history, you know, we got a coach by the name of Dennis Pagan, yeah? Was he the greatest fit for the club at the time? Possibly not. He had nothing to work with. The club had no money. Okay? But you can't say that he didn't know how to coach. He won premierships at North Melbourne. We then go and get a bloke by the name of Mick Malthouse. He had his first year where I remember him specifically saying that he's not going to do anything with the list for 12 months. He's going to analyse it and he'll make his mind up. At the end of the first year, he went to the club and he said, this list isn't that good, because they told him that we'll push him for a grand final.
Mm.
As soon as he opened his mouth, that's when they turned on him.
Mm.
You know, so, I mean, like, let's just let people do what they employed to do. You know, Brian
Yeah.
Cook's the CEO. He's not a kid. He knows what he's doing. Let him run that's, at the end of the day, the person that's responsible for any AFL club is the CEO.
Yeah.
They report to the board that are put there predominantly, and should be, by the members. But the CEO's the
Yeah.
boss.
Good points, bro. Good points.
So,
Lot to digest, and again, it's more questions than answers.
yeah.
Yeah.
More questions than answers.
And hopefully we
Thanks
can...
for coming on, Morris.
No problems. Thanks for having me, boys. And keep up the great work. And Amal, you're never bombarding my page, mate. So
Appreciate it.
yeah, you're welcome. It's you know what? It's been a delight talking to you, boys. You know, I got a little bit off my chest.
It's not, mate.
That's
This is
why.
a safe
Look,
space. This is therapy.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's exactly why we started this.
Yeah.
It's just
We get it
so
off our
we
chest.
can start the week in a better mood.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear that we've achieved that with not only our group, but with yourself as well, Morris. So absolutely, thank you for coming on. We very much appreciate your time and coming on and having a rant with us.
Pleasure, boys.
Very much enjoyed it.
And go
Appreciate
Blues.
it, Morris.
See you tomorrow, Andy.
I'm sure I will.
Good night, boys.
See
No,
ya.
mate. See you.
Well, the Melbourne game is done and dusted. Missed opportunities there. But let's quickly go around the grounds. Mus, we'll start with you. Your 1 vote, 2 votes, and 3 votes for the Melbourne versus Carlton game.
Yeah, I'm going to probably struggle to get all 3 out. I'm probably going to give 3 to Binns in a second, who had 34 odd touches. Look, Doherty was okay, and Walsh got a bit of ball. His decision making wasn't great, but I thought he got himself into the game and got a bit of ball for me. Those 2 are my big call outs, and Weeders did really well, so I'll give the Weedering 3 again. So,
Yep. Andy, what about you?
I'm actually surprised you said Walsh, because he was one of my least effective for the game. My 3, I'd probably go Harry. Harry. I think after the week he had, he really needed to hit the scoreboard, and he did that. My 2 is probably Weeders. Weeders did really well again. Really solid in defence. And 1, I don't know.
It's hard. It is hard.
Oh, so hard. Yeah, I don't know. I'll pass on the one. I don't know.
Carl, what about you?
I'm going to go. Oh, look, I was going to give Harry the 3, but based on some of the bad things he did. So as a collective unit, I'm going to give the team a 0. No one gets a score from me. Just a 0. Sorry, boys.
Carl's had enough.
0. Yeah. I'm not going to go minus, yeah? Just a 0. Just one, just 0.
Oh, George.
I'll go. I'll go McKay for 1. I think, yeah, as Andy said, after the week he had, the impact he had at the start, the long bomb right at the start of the third quarter. I think it was like 10 or 15 seconds in.
Huge.
I think he had his best game, although there was a couple of moments here and there. I think he had his best game since the last quarter against Geelong, where he had a couple of those game-saving marks in the wing. I think he had
Yeah,
his best patch.
I
He had
agree.
an absolutely terrible week. And you said it last week, like the murmurs when he marked the ball, when watch and listen for the noise. Like at that first quarter when he got that one, before he kicked his first goal, the crowd, it
Yeah.
was just like, it was like bees. It was like a million bees. And
Yeah.
you can only imagine in his head. So I'll give him 1. And to be honest, I wanted to give TDK 1 purely because of the effort about going up against Grundy and Gawn, and his second half I think was good. But I gave it to Mackay. I'll give Kemp 2, to be honest, because Kemp was an interceptor across the back line, a defense that was under siege. For the majority of the game, as is majority of the season, really. And I felt like he had a cool head about him for a couple of those contests, a few intercepts. And like I said, I think he should stay in for the rest of the year. I don't see why they should ever drop him back to the VFL. He's a first-round pick. He had his injury worries. You stuck by him, so stick by him for the rest of the season. And I like Chera's game. I don't know. I like to give him 3 purely because of a bit of the link-up play. He found a bit of space. Not everything worked out, but he tried. I think I'll give him the 3 purely because he racked up a bit of the ball, but he tried something a little bit different rather than just always bombing it long. He was that good link-up play, and it's hard to find really a standout, really. But I think I liked his game. Amal?
1 vote, Mackay. Good to see him back on the goal kickers list. He's not there yet 100%, like we said. He kicked the first 2, but then he showed towards the end of the game where his kick goal would have put the scoreboard pressure back on Melbourne a bit more. He decided to snap from 40 metres out, which just shows that he hasn't got that little man out of his head just yet. It's still very much still there. So 1 vote to Mackay. I hope he keeps it up next week because we're certainly going to need him next week against the scum, Essendon. 2 votes, and this is a very, very small margin between the 2. But my 2 and 3 go to Kemp and Wiedering, and it could go either way. Kemp, as you said, George, he needs to stay in the team for the rest of the season. No ifs, no buts. Keep him in because he's a strong mark, and he has a tendency to go for the more riskier kicks, even though he probably shouldn't. But let him learn that himself. Don't try and take that away from him because we certainly need that. I think he's got a bit more balls than Wiedering at the moment. Who's while he's back and while he's taken those big intercept marks, big contested marks and everything like that, he still tends to, well, at least I still feel he tends to sort of go for the wing, go down the line, as opposed to looking at the corridor, which is very much a no man's land at the moment for the Carlton Football Club. But those would be my votes for this week. Not a lot to go off to Carl's point. It wasn't the greatest of games, but there was a directive there to play a bit more free flowing and riskier footy, which was good to see. And it didn't work out to our advantage. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. When it did, we looked really dangerous, and when we didn't, it usually ended up in a goal. But as long as we persist, as long as we continue to work on that and don't fall back to what's comfortable, which is the dump kicks out onto the wing, and more times than not it's going to return in. Persist with that. Persist with the riskier footy, because our season is on the line at the moment, and if it works, it works. We might have a sniff at finals. But if it doesn't, at least you're working on something for the rest of the season that you can bring into 2024. Boy, how much the conversation has changed from the start of the year. It was to Morris's point, right? We were talking about top four.
I think
Top
they
four.
were talking about top 4 draft pick. That's what they were talking about. Because that's what it certainly looks like at the moment, guys. Unfortunately.
The Harley Reid Cup, almost.
Well, yeah.
Oh. We're 2 games clear of the 8 at the moment. And you look at some of the teams ahead of us. We're coming up against the Gold Coast Suns and Essendon. Essendon's in the 8. That's freaking disgusting. They're 6th at the moment.
Can I just say, how bad is Kyle Langford's head? He's got a dirty little mo and.
Speaking of heads, can you just repeat to our audience what you said about Bailey Fritsch when we were at the game?
I just wondered. Imagine being pregnant for 9 months, giving birth, and then naming your child Bailey. Shit name, Bailey. It's sorry to all Baileys out there. You should probably smack your mother and tell her why. Why did you name me Bailey?
It's called Bacala.
Yeah.
Either wanted a girl or too many drinks. One or the other.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't want
This was
to
a
lose
good
to
chat.
Essendon, boys. I don't want to lose to them.
I don't think anyone wants that. Geez, that's going to be an ugly podcast if we lose to Essendon next week.
Well, let's be real. I'm not going to win.
It's true. It's true. And you know what's worse, right? We'll be filming the podcast straight after the Essendon game.
No, we will. Oh, no.
No, it's a long weekend, isn't it? It can be done Monday.
Yeah. No, it's got to be done.
Yeah, the Monday Blues.
Blues, mate.
Monday Blues.
Yeah, late recording and then straight post, mate.
No.
Hey?
You got to.
What's just still now?
Listen, raw emotion, win or lose. That's what it's going to be next week.
Oh, it's going to be painful.
It will be. It's going to be a tough one. But as always, gentlemen, thank you for being a part of what is the Monday Blues. It's always lovely having a chat with you guys after what's proven to be rough weekends over the last 6 or 7 weeks. We do it all over again on Sunday against the scum of the earth, the filth, the yuck.
We're going to get banned.
Yeah.
Oh, just yuck, man. We'll be doing a game preview. That game preview will go live at 9 a.m. on Friday. Stay tuned, where we will go through teams, what we would like to see, plus many other things. And then Monday at 5 p.m. we will go through Carlton smashing the Essendon Football Club. It's going to be a great chat. I can't wait. We're going to win. We're going to win.
Boys, I'm looking forward to the first chat after a win, because we haven't had a win on this podcast yet.
We haven't.
Sorry to end that on a damper note, boys.
67% of his life.
Some Blues.
Well, have a good night, fellas.
All right, boys. Enjoy, and we'll see you next week.
Easy.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, fellas.
Sick and now.